Milani, aka Total Makeup Junkie 101. So today I have a what's new with Milani, new products, mini reviews, showing you guys the colors I have, showing you guys swatches type video. If you guys are familiar with my channel, you guys know that Milani is one of my favorite drugstore brands of all time. I have tried very, very little from Milani that I dislike. The majority of the stuff that I try, I at the very least like, if not love. You guys probably already know that Milani did release new shades of their Amore matte lip creams, and I did already do a full in-depth review and lip swatch video on these little puppies, so I will be sure to put my video link in the description box below for you. In today's video, we are going to be talking about the new shadow palettes that Milani released, which they call their Everyday Eyes eyeshadow collections. There are 6 shades of these. We will be talking about the new Moisture Lock lip treatments, and I believe there are 8 colors of these. And we will be talking about the new foundation that they released, which is the Conceal and Perfect 2-in-1 foundation. So let's jump right into the mini reviews by talking about the new eyeshadow palettes. I know these were probably the things I was the most excited about because there aren't a lot of palettes like this from the drugstore that I love. I know that there are so many brands releasing their version of a larger eyeshadow palette. L'Oreal has their La palettes, Maybelline has their palettes that are absolutely terrible. There are a lot of brands doing these types of palettes, but Milani shadows are always and have always been some of my favorites. This is the overall layout of the eyeshadow palette. The back of the palette is really nice because it has a step-by-step tutorial on exactly how to use the products with the exact colors that are included in here. And the tutorial is color-coded and everything, so it makes it really easy to follow along. You can see that there are 6 shadows in this palette, 4 going across, 2 up and down. They are all powder shadows. This one up here happens to be a little bit bigger than most of the other shades, simply because this one is meant to be used as a base shade. This one is meant to be used as a contour, lid, crease, specialty, and liner. That's the way that Milani assigns them, at least. Once again, you can use them however you please. Each of the palettes do come with a double-ended brush. You can see one side is a little bit flatter and then one side is a rounder crease brush. Both of them are really like sparse in bristles. They don't feel like they would do a whole lot. Each of these palettes retails for right around $9.99. That's the price that you can purchase them for on the Milani website. So before I talk about the quality of the shadows, let's get right into showing you guys some swatches so you can see the way these look on the skin. This first palette that I've been holding up here is called Must Have Naturals, and you can see this one is a very neutral tones palette. And here are the swatches of this palette. You guys can see all of the colors swatched out. They are pretty good. That matte black is really nice and rich. Here's a look at the second palette in the collection. This one is called Bare Necessities, and these are the swatches that you can see from left to right. We have all of the shades, and this one is one of my all-time favorite palettes. I think this is just a really beautiful, everyday, natural, neutral palette. This third palette is called the Smoky Essentials palette, and you can see the swatches of this palette. This one is really nice. It does have all of the colors you would really need to create a nice smoky eye, and I do think that blue is really pretty. This next palette is called the Plum Basics palette. Now this palette I wasn't able to find at Walgreens, so I did pick this one up at Walmart, and you guys can see the swatches of this palette. Once again, really beautiful, but that kind of chunky glittery shade doesn't show up too well, and neither does the base shade in this palette. So I do think the purples are really nice, but overall this one isn't necessarily my favorite palette. Speaking of favorite palette, this one is definitely my favorite. This one is called the Earthy Elements, and you can see the swatches of this one are absolutely gorgeous. I really think that orange shadow really takes it over the top. It's really rare that you can find a matte orange shadow like this. And finally, we have the Vital Brights palette. Now this is another palette I wasn't able to find at Walgreens, so I had to go to Walmart to find it. And here are the swatches of this palette. You can see that overall, for it being a brights palette, it's not bad by any means, but it's not my favorite. I definitely think the colors overall could have been brighter and more vivid, and honestly, I feel like there could have been a little bit more cohesion in this entire palette. I think with this palette in particular, this little tutorial at the back is really helpful because I personally wouldn't look at this palette and think that all of these colors would work well together, but the final eye look that is shown, that Milani shows here at the back, is really pretty. Now, in terms of the formula of the shadows in these palettes, overall, they're really good, but a lot of the shades are very hit and miss. I wouldn't really go as far as to say that these are my favorite shadows of all time, but I definitely think in terms of drugstore palettes, these are some of the better palettes that you can find. Would I necessarily pick these palettes over something like my Urban Decay palettes or my Viseart palettes or even my newfound love of the Natasha Denona eyeshadow palettes? Definitely not. These don't compare at all to those, but in terms of drugstore, they're pretty good. Most of the colors are fairly pigmented. They blend really nicely. I do think if you wanted to go to the drugstore and pick one up to try it out, check out this one, the Earthy Elements with the orange shadow. That one is the most unique palette in terms of drugstore makeup, and it's beautiful. Alrighty, moving on into these little puppies. These are the Moisture Lock lip treatments that I have heard either rave reviews about or really negative reviews about. Now, before I give you guys my thoughts on these, let's just talk about some basic information. These retail for $8.49 a piece on the Milani website, which is pretty pricey, especially considering that these only come with 0.1 ounces of product. Now, the tube looks like this. I do really like the tube because each of the different colors does have the outer packaging, the color of the scent, and then when you pull out the applicator, this is what it looks like. It is huge. The applicator alone is just so big and clunky looking. It's kind of ridiculous. No matter what the color looks like from the outer packaging, don't be fooled because you will get completely and totally clear color out of all of these. As I told you guys earlier in the video, these do come in 8 different scents. Really, they're not even different colors. They're really just 8 different scents. And the reason that they come in so many different scents is because each of these is infused with a different kind of oil. So in that sense, each of the different flavors does have a very different, distinct scent. And to be perfectly honest, that is the only thing that I can tell that's different between all 8 of these. My opinion on these is very 50-50. I definitely don't hate these by any means. They did not do any reverse damage to my lips or anything like that, but I definitely don't think it compares to a really deep hydrating lip balm. I've actually really been enjoying applying these as I'm doing my makeup. I'll apply these as my first step in my makeup routine and let the moisture kind of sink into the lips. These don't last a super long time on the lips. You definitely have to reapply throughout the day if you're looking for some continued hydration. But really, these are just a nice smelling, medium hydration lip oil. In terms of the 8 different scents, the first one is called the Moisturizing Almond Cocoa, which smells like a nice, warm, light coconut scent. There's also a Healing Lemon Honey, which is slightly lemony, not super citrusy because that honey really sweetens it up. The Rejuvenating Peach Mango is probably my favorite one because it smells just like the peach gummy candies, like the Peachios and the little rings. It's delicious. The Conditioning Grapeseed one smells kind of like the old school Bonnie Bell lip smackers to me. I don't know, it does kind of smell like grape, but it just smells like an old school lip balm to me. Repairing Primrose is a nice light rose scent. I really love this. Revitalizing Grapefruit, just like you would expect. It's a nice citrusy grapefruit. Protecting Pomegranate doesn't really smell like pomegranate to me. I don't really know what it smells like. It's not my favorite, but this one does have a little bit of a red tint to it. Now, the red tint is so light that it doesn't really show up on my skin tone, but if you are fair complected, you you may be able to tell a little bit of tint out of this one. And finally, we have Nourishing Raspberry, which I'm not ever crazy about raspberry scents, so I don't really know why I picked this one up, but if you like raspberry scented lip products, you'll probably like this. Overall, did I really need all 8 of these? Absolutely not. I think if you're interested, go pick up 1 or 2 of the shades that really attract your attention, because really on the lips, they all work the same. Now, the final thing I want to talk about in this What's New at Milani mini review video is the new Milani Conceal and Perfect 2-in-1 foundation and concealer. I was so excited to try this because I don't think I've ever tried a liquid foundation from Milani before. I picked this up at Walmart. This retailed for around $9, I believe. This retails for $9.99 on the Milani website. The shade I picked it up in is the number 9 Tan, and this is the darkest shade that Walmart carries. But if you go on the Milani website, they do have like 4 or 5 darker shades than this one. But tan matches my skin tone absolutely perfectly, like to a T. First off, let's just talk about the claims. Milani claims this to be a medium to full coverage, lightweight, oil-free formula, long-wearing, water-resistant, and sweat-proof. Now, those are some really big claims. Now, in terms of it being waterproof and sweat resistant, or sorry, water resistant and sweat proof, I don't really know if that's true. Honestly, I haven't really been sweating a lot while I've worn this or while I've been testing this, nor has it been raining or have I jumped into a pool with this on. So I can't really make any claims to that waterproof standpoint. This is what the bottle of the foundation looks like. This whole thing is actually put on with a sticker, which is actually surprising because more often than not, Milani does really nice with their packaging. So I'm surprised they put this on with a sticker. But the bottle is really beautiful with this ombre, and it is glass, which is nice. The top just pops off, and it does have a really nice pump top. The pump is perfect. You can use 1 pump for a very nice medium light coverage across the skin. I more often than not use 2 pumps. I use about 1.5 pumps all over my face, and then I use that additional half pump as a concealer, as it claims to be. Now, in terms of applying 1 full thick layer and being able to get that foundation and concealer appearance, I don't think is true. I would say that you want to apply 1 nice thin layer across your skin and then go in with additional product and put it on wherever you feel like you need more concealing. Now, the consistency of this is really thick. This is probably one of the thickest foundations I've used, especially lately, because I feel like the place that foundation is really going right now is that really high coverage, super liquidy, really thin feeling foundation. I couldn't see this working well with your fingers or with a brush. It really needs the moisture of the Beauty Blender to really bump it into the skin. Otherwise, it's going to feel thick, look thick and cakey, and it's probably just going to be really uncomfortable. Use your dampened Beauty Blender or whatever sponge you have in your collection to apply this. If you use a brush, I could see it being too much, but with a sponge, I love it. I don't find this to break up on my skin. It doesn't start looking cakey or chunky or anything like that. The nice thing about this is when you apply a nice thin layer across your skin, it almost sets down to a nice satin matte powdery type finish. I don't feel like I have to apply powder on top immediately, but more often than not, I do, just because I know I have a very oily skin type. I think if you have a dry skin type, this will probably be too much. I could see this clinging on to dry patches because of its thick texture, but I mean, if you have oily skin, especially if you like something like the Revlon Color Stay, the original Revlon Color Stay, this is very similar to that in terms of the longevity and even in terms of the way it looks. But I feel like I need to use a lot less of this because it's so thick and so pigmented. So overall, I really do love this. This is one of my go-to drugstore foundations, right up there with the Revlon Color Stay, right up there with the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Matte Foundation. I really do think this is good. Okay guys, so that is everything that is new with Milani. I hope you guys enjoyed this comprehensive review video. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, and I will talk to you guys in my next video on Monday. I'll see you then. Bye! What the outer box on the packaging of them looks like. Kylie has 6 different shades as of Get the Elephant Out of the Room. I really, really love this product.